Good morning, everyone. So welcome to the second day of the conference. So yesterday we had a wonderful panel with His Excellency Prime Minister Ahmed Nazif and myself, and Engineer Swedi. It was a great panel, and of course we all know that Dr. Nazif, as we discussed yesterday, was the father of ICT in Egypt, and we were very proud actually with his vision, and innovation ideas and stuff to talk about in Africa. And so today, to continue on that, our dear friend, Engineer Ra'afat Hindi, the Minister of Communication and IT, sent us one of the best. Dr. Hada Baraka, actually she's the senior advisor to the minister, but not only that, Dr. Hada Baraka actually was the team of Dr. Ahmed Nazif and the late Dr. His Excellency Dr. Tariq Kamel. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy and peace upon him. And she is one of the people that really built the ICT sector. She's a great friend of mine and a colleague, and I enjoyed knowing her very closely and working together with her. So inshallah today she's going to do a keynote speaker for MCIT, and she's going to talk to us today about a very important topic. She's going to talk about AI in Egypt and then the whole thing. So please let's put our hands together for her, and we are going to have a great session inshallah in keynote speaker.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tariq. Good morning, everyone. I will just try to be brief and on time so that you can plan the panel. So as Dr. Tariq mentioned, I will talk actually about artificial intelligence in Egypt from the governmental point of view. I'm Dr. Hada Baraka. I'm also a professor at Cairo University, Faculty of Engineering. And most importantly, I am the National AI Lead in Egypt. So what I will actually present today is somehow a glimpse on what we are doing in artificial intelligence and our journey for AI. Okay, so I will. First of all, I will mention how we actually evolved in the national AI strategy, and then I will provide some information about some of our governance tools. And finally, one of the important things that Egypt is proud of is its international cooperation in the field of AI. Given, of course, that everyone now is speaking about AI, it's a big debate. It's a worldwide debate, and we want to see what is the role of Egypt in this debate. So when we started, actually, we started back in 2019. So we can say, or we can claim that we started early enough in the journey of artificial intelligence. And one important milestone at that time was the establishment of the National AI Council. So in 2019, we understood the importance of this technology, and we established the National AI Council, of course, composed of a number of important ministries and also private sector and a number of experts. Our second milestone was in 2021 with the launching of our first national AI strategy. At that time, of course, we were not talking about generative AI, we were not talking about ChatGPT, but it was more about classical AI and how actually we can use AI for government, for development, and for making more efficiency and productivity inside the government. In 2023, this was the time when we launched a very important document that is our Charter for Ethical AI Use. And this charter was actually inspired by all the most important international organizations that they are all talking about the principles of ethical AI. So you have 10 principles, very important, like fairness, non-bias, accountability, explainability. safety, risk assessment, and all of that. And also in 2023, we have launched this important document, and we hoped at that time that we can actually operationalize these principles. In 2025, we've done a lot of achievement actually, because at that time, 2025, everything was much more mature than we started back in 2019. So we launched our second national AI strategy, which is very much different than what had been launched in 2021. A very comprehensive strategy that is published on our National AI Council website, ai.gov.eg, and it includes 21 initiatives inside this strategy. Also in 2025, we launched the open data policy, because we all know that when we talk about AI, we always have three more very important factors. We need to have the data, we need to have the compute infrastructure, and we need to have the algorithms. So in order to have the data, you need to find out a way to get data from public institutions. Whether you have a policy for this or you have a law, a data classification law. So currently Egypt, just to let you know, we are working on a law. So in transient, in order, because always laws takes around 18 months to be enacted. So we actually released the open data policy so that we can work around the issue of data. Also, one of the things that we have done in 2025 also is not only the establishment of the private data center, privacy data center, but also the bylaws finally was enacted and published, and accordingly the data protection center is currently on and working. So as you see, only in 2025, a lot of progress has been done in conjunction with all what is happening around the world in the artificial intelligence. I'll speak a little bit about our second national AI strategy. What is the vision for this strategy? It's definitely, of course, inclusive AI. This is one of the most important factors in our vision. We don't want AI to be restricted to a specific segment, but actually we want AI to help us in I've been talking about digital inclusion for the last, I think, 3 decades now for me, because I'm old enough. Maybe for others, it's only single decade or 2 decades, but for me, back in 2006, we were still talking about digital inclusion and digital divide and all of that. With AI, I think it's one of the important factors that can help us maybe in bridging this digital divide. Of course, when we talk about the industry part, we think that also AI can help us in the social and economic development of our society and our communities. Also, in order to make the strategy accountable, we need to set specific targets. We have specific targets on the macro level, and also we have specific KPIs on the micro level. So on the macro level, we have 6 important indicators. When you look here on the left side, it's about professionals, it's about companies, startups, it's about R&D. So the 3 targets for people, we need to have like 30,000 professionals by 2030, 250 new companies working in the field of AI. Why I'm saying new? Because all the IT companies now, they say they are an AI company. So we want to have new AI companies that are very much specialized in the field of AI. And also, we need to make sure that the research and development in the field of artificial intelligence is really progressing. And definitely, while you are here in one of the top universities in the field of engineering and computer science, we hope that we can actually reach the target of having 6,000 publications per year. On the other side, this is more of macro indicators. The first one is the contribution of the ICT sector in the GDP. It's not only for the AI, but this is the overall contribution of the ICT sector. And luckily enough that every year we see that the ICT sector contribution is really satisfactory for the economic development. Two very important indicators here, one for the Egyptian workforce. So we say 26%, just to give our colleagues here, what does it mean 26% of the workforce? It means that if you have 5 million workers in the government, so that 26% is around 1 million people, which is definitely a big target. And we are not yet there in the first year of that strategy. So we are still lagging on this 26%, and we are thinking about new innovative way on how to reach our targets. The second part is the general public, which is 36% of the general public. Again, when we talk about the general public, we have 110 millions. So 36%, it's around 40% of our population that we are setting a target to reach with AI to them. This is important because is it very ambitious, this 36% or not? It is ambitious, but again, Egypt is lucky to have more than 50% of its population under the age of 26 or 27. So we are a young population, and that's why when we talk about the 36%, we are considering here all students in pre-university education, which is around 25 millions, and also all the students in the undergraduate in universities, which is around 2 million. So you have around 27 millions of the community just in schools and universities, and this will help us actually in reaching this target. Objectives, definitely, any strategy has a number of strategic objectives. Of course, the first objective is extremely important, which is ensuring ethical and responsible AI use. I think this is one of the most important objectives. As I will mention afterwards, how actually Egypt is working on achieving this important objective. The last objective is about the balance. And if we look at these 6 strategic objectives, we see that they are directly transformed to 6 pillars in our strategy, so that we ensure that each pillar can actually contribute in one of these strategic objectives. So these are the 6 pillars of the strategy. As you can see here, you see the 3 important pillars for the applications, which is the data, the technology, the talents, and then the infrastructure, the ecosystem, and the regulation, which is the sovereignty of our country. So these are the 6 pillars that the strategy is built around it, and to ensure that we can definitely achieve these strategic objectives. So each one of these objectives is reflected in one of our pillars here. I will talk on one single pillar because I don't have too much time, which is the governance, because I think it's very important that we understand that AI governance is a global debate, and how actually Egypt is positioning itself inside this debate. So if you look at this pillar, you will see that we have two important initiatives here. One is the Egyptian National AI Regulatory System, and the second one is the global and regional AI dialogues that is behind the chairs that are here. So what we are doing for the regulatory system? I think this is also important. So we started with the National Council for AI, but this is very high level. I don't think that this will work on the real implementation of the regulation. So what we have done also, we have established what we call the Egyptian Center for Responsible AI, and this is part of the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology, ICRE. Ministry of Communication is the one leading the efforts behind artificial intelligence. We have the Personal Data Protection Center. We have also the sectoral government regulations. Because again, when we talk about the AI, you have a centralized, definitely, regulation system, but again, for each sector has its own specialty, and definitely there are other regulations that complement the overall regulation system for AI. Especially, for example, when you talk about health sector, about the energy sector, about agriculture, all these specificities has its own implication on the regulation parts. So what is our philosophy for regulation in Egypt? We see the state as the orchestrator, and we have two main objectives in our regulation. One is the guardian. So our responsibility is to ensure what? To ensure that we are protecting our community and protecting our society. So the guardian part is very important, but we have another important mandate, which is the enablement. Okay, this is a very important technology. It's reflect immediately on the economic growth, and definitely we need to enable innovation in order to make sure that Egypt is taking part of this benefit on the global agenda. We see also the private sector as implementer in different sectors, and I mentioned here the most important priority sectors for Egypt: healthcare, finance, education, transport, and agriculture. So this is the overall overarching philosophy that we are based on in our implementation for governance. If you look at this, it's not complicated, but layered approach. So you will see that our first layer definitely is based on existing laws, because there is a debate for I mean, I'm sure that most of the attendees here know that a lot of countries actually are debating whether do we have a law, specialized law for AI, or we can only use the existing AI laws. First of all, the European Union, of course, has enacted an AI law, and there are very few other countries that are following this methodology, but most of the countries actually do not have a law specific for AI. The same applies for Egypt. For now, we don't have a law for AI, but we are using all our laws that exist already, like the Constitution, the Anti-Cyber, the Personal Data Protection Law, FinTech Law, and the Telecommunication Regulation Law. And we are relying on this law to make sure that we are not missing any offensive crime that we cannot handle with the current existing laws. And then second layer is about our strategic evolution. So we have the first strategy, second strategy, and the charter. We have our philosophy, which is the state as orchestrated between the guardian and the enabler. And then at the end, as you see, if we don't have a law, so we need to have something, of course, so that we prepare our community for the law, if the law will come in the near future. So what actually we are relying on we are relying on issuing a number of guidelines or policies or sector-specific policies so that we are sure that we can actually work on the transient time until we enact a law, or we don't. This is a debate, political debate, until we see what we will do for this matter. So what we have issued as guidelines, the first guideline, which was very comprehensive and that went through a lot of consultations with the private sector, with the public institutions, with experts, is our national AI system guidelines. And it is based on 4 important pillars. The first one is the institutional governance, because we need to make sure that our institutions are ready for AI. And then the second one is the stakeholder engagement. And here, again, all AI systems will reflect and will impact some stakeholders. And it is important that we take stakeholders into perspective while we are designing any AI system. The last part, the third pillar, is about the society and sustainability. And we are all here about what is happening for example, the AI child protection, the AI minor protection. And that's why we need to consider the society when we are deploying AI system. Sustainability, of course, reflects directly to energy. We know that all the compute infrastructure of AI requires huge energy, and definitely taking into consideration environment sustainability is also extremely important in our development for systems. Do we really need large language model? Do we really need all this huge compute infrastructure? Can we actually substitute and make the same applications with frugal AI? All these considerations are actually considered in the sustainability pillar. The last one, which is in the middle, is actually how you implement the AI system. And when we've been also in the last 2 decades talking about software engineering cycle, and it's important for software engineering now to consider what is the new software engineering cycle when you talk about AI systems. Here we have a different part, which is the post-deployment part. Maybe in all our software engineering cycles, we were very much considered in the design until we deploy, and then that's it. We are sure that the system will actually do what has been designed for. But with AI, we are not really sure that after we deploy, the post-deployment phase, what will happen. So inside this cycle, you have the design and development, you have the pre-deployment, and then you have the post-deployment to monitor, to audit, to ensure, and to reiterate again in this cycle to know that we are doing the right thing. This is just to mention that institutional readiness is really something very important. I will skip here. You need to make sure that even when you make the design, you have 2 options. One option is how to procure off-the-shelf AI system, and if you are designing from scratch an AI system. And in both cases, you need to make all the considerations required. These are the principles for ethical AI, and these are very well known now principles. Everyone is looking about these principles. What is important is to ensure that the principles are respected. And one of the things that the Ministry of Communication currently is doing is implementation of an AI audit lab. Why? Because we need to ensure that the government entities and the private sector are capable of doing such tests to ensure that we are really ethical and really responsible AI. And maybe I will, because this is maybe important also here, these are 2 tools that we are developing in order to measure the institution's readiness level of the institutions. And the second one is to measure how the responsible AI system is really ready for the deployment. So these are two simple tools that are already published. Currently, it's only on Excel, but we are in the process of making this also web-based so that all the companies and all the government entities can use it. A second guideline that is also published by the National Council for AI, it's about generative, because again, it's not all the people and the community will develop new AI systems, but all the community is actually using generative AI. All students in schools, everyone is actually using generative AI. So it was very important that we publish this second document for guidelines for generative AI. It actually includes different things. It includes the Gen AI, it includes the agentic AI, and actually it includes also the deep fake. And in an appendix, we have a number of nice prompts that help actually the community to use the right way of prompting for their inquiries with generative AI. I would encourage you to actually look at this document. I will not go through it. Just for the agentic, maybe I would mention that it's very important to have human in the loop. You cannot, for agentic, you need to have a specific goal, not to leave the agents to do whatever they want. They need a specific goal, and also you need to have a checkpoint, human checkpoint in the loop. Deepfake, of course, it's very important that we differentiate what is allowed for deepfake and what is not allowed, so that we don't hinder the innovation and the creativity, but to make sure that we are doing this in the right way. Next. This is our roadmap for 2026, which is also validate that guidelines and documents that reflect what needs to be done is crucial to the public sector. So first of all, the web version of the system assessment tools. One important document that we are currently working on is the Child AI Safety Guidelines, and we are doing this with UNICEF. Very important document is the procurement template for AI system. Because again, a lot of public institutions want to actually move to AI system use cases, but they don't know what to write in their RFP. So currently we have the procurement template. It includes all whatever information is required for validation, for testing, for quality, and we have a consultation next month with the private sector and also for the public institution on this guideline. So it's already there, but again, it has to go through the process of consultation in order to get the feedback of all the stakeholders. The Responsible AI Audit Lab, this will be a training lab for private sector and the public sector. And maybe the last point also is important, that we are working very closely with the ISO and also with the ITU on AI standards. I think the standards for AI is very important. They have the very much famous the 42001 standard for AI management systems. And you can see like 3 pages of standards that we are not aware of in Egypt. We are working with also المواصفات القياسية in Egypt on this. And very important that we map all these standards within the procurement guidelines so that we are ensuring that whatever procurement is done according to international standard. of course, for interoperability. The last part that I will talk about is where we stand as Egypt in the international arena. I think during the last 2-3 years, we've done a lot of effort actually in order to ensure that whatever we are working on in Egypt is aligned with international debates, is aligned with international standards, and that we are not really doing something that is only focused on Egypt. First of all, Egypt has this important positioning between the Arab countries and between the African countries. And alhamdulillah, we say that we are leading both the Arab AI focus group and also the African AI focus group. And we've done a number of achievements. So currently we have the Arab AI strategy. We have an Arab AI ethical charter. And we have an Arab AI plan. So we have 3 outcomes coming from this group, which I am honored to be the head of the Arab group. One of the things also that we have done for this group, that at the Arab League, at the Council of Ministers, the Arab Council of Ministers, we have established a committee for AI and emerging technologies. So for the last 5 years, it was simply a working group inside the Council of Ministers for ICT. Now we are having a committee, a complete committee for AI and emerging technology, which reflects the importance of artificial intelligence. It reflects also the understanding of the ICT ministers for the impact and effect of emerging technologies in the next few years. On the African level, with the African Union also and the OECD, we've launched the African strategy for artificial intelligence. You can see also here a lot of work is done with different organizations. One important thing that we are proud of, for example, that currently we are part of the Council of Europe as observer status for the AI. It was an AI committee, the CAI, but currently they also changed this to emerging technology. So, and we also changed our National Council for AI. It is now Council for AI, Quantum Computing and Emerging Technologies. So you can see that whatever we are thinking of, even the Council of Europe is doing the same thing at the same time. OECD, the observer policy of the OECD, you will see how our documents, our guidelines is already published on the OECD Observer. With the UNGA, we are currently part of the global dialogue for AI. Next month, we will have the consultation on the Arab level, and we are contributing also to this consultation. It's important. This AI global dialogue is like for us from 2 other decades, we had the WSIS and we had the IGF. Now we have this new mechanism, which is the UN global dialogue. Last, of course, UNESCO also, we have done the readiness assessment methodology report with the UNESCO. And we're working with World Bank, OECD, GPA. GPA also is one of the very important entities. These are all group of experts that are very specialized in AI. And we are also proud that we could manage to have one of our projects actually with GPA experts. So they see the importance of use cases in Egypt to have an impact on the global arena. I think that's it. Maybe this is just to close. It's very important when we talk about AIs to ensure that it's responsible, it's ethical, and is actually helping our community and our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Huda, for this amazing speech. I now would like to invite Professor Tariq Khalil, Professor Azam, and Dr. Tariq Sadani on stage to honor Dr. Huda. Our next keynote speaker is from our platinum sponsor. Please welcome Engineer Hisham Abu Yazid, Executive Director, Planning and Market Development, Belgium.
Maybe it's such a challenge to speak after Dr. Huda, as always, but in a way she made my job quite easy. So I will be brief, given time to get into the program of today. Professor Tariq Khalil, Conference Chair, Professor Assam Rujdi, Nile University President, esteemed program chairs, Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and honor to join you today at Nile University for this IAMOT 2026. This event that brings together some of the brightest minds shaping the future of technology, innovation, sectoral innovation across the world. Allow me to begin by commending the organizers for selecting such a powerful theme for your conference today: the intersection of technology and humanity. It is precisely at this intersection where regulations find its renewed purpose for every age. For decades, regulation was perceived as an afterthought and misperceived sometimes as the active measure that may even curb innovation. But today, we understand something fundamentally different. We understand that trust has become the currency of the new innovation age, which without this trust, we cannot scale innovation. And that trust does not exist without smart regulation in place. Regulation today is a key enabler that gives confidence to investors, protects consumers, enables fair competition, and creates the enabling conditions for innovation to flourish for the good of society. And in a rapidly evolving technological landscape, where agentic AI, quantum computing, cloudification, next-generation networks, and digital platforms are all coming together to reshape our economies, regulation must not just keep pace. Regulation must lead the way. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt's Vision 2030 places digital transformation at the heart of national development. At NTIA, we view ICT not just as an economic driver, but a key enabler of inclusion, sustainability, and innovation. One of the most important enablers of this transformation is the Digital Egypt platform. This platform has enabled the delivery of hundreds of government services online, allowing citizens service delivery time and engage with the state in a more efficient, integrated, and transparent manner. But such a platform cannot exist in vacuum. It relies on state-of-the-art infrastructure, strong regulatory frameworks, up-to-date cybersecurity standards, and verified digital identity systems. This is a clear example of how regulation is not just supporting development, it is what's making it possible. Another flagship initiative that reflects the power of regulation is the Decent Life Initiative, IAMOT. This national project aims to improve the quality of life of millions of Egyptians in rural and underserved areas, including by extending the benefits of the digital technology to more than 4,000 villages across Egypt. At the heart of this project, it underlines something critical. Modern high-speed connectivity, digital technology are no longer luxury for the privileged. They are basic development enablers for all. NTIA has hence been working hand in hand with partners to build equitable access to ICT infrastructure to those remote communities by extending fiber optic broadband networks, building mobile towers, and enhancing quality access to digital services like e-education, e-health, and e-government. A key component of our regulatory approach has always been the recognition that public-private partnership is critical in bridging digital divide. NTIA has created supportive regulatory frameworks that encourage private sector investment and continued growth, with access to necessary scarce resources that enables improved quality of service and meets the growing demand of emerging and future services. In this vein, earlier this year, NTIA launched our national spectrum roadmap for the coming 5 years. The new roadmap allocates a total of 410 megahertz of spectrum to the 4 mobile operators working in the country, doubling the total amount of spectrum granted to all mobile operators since the year 1997, when mobile services first launched in Egypt. This roadmap alone enabled a total of $3.5 billion in private investment. This kind of investment and long-term commitment can only be cultivated in a regulatory environment of predictability, shared vision, and good governance. At NTIA, we recognize that as technologies and services evolve, so must our regulatory frameworks that govern them, and that collaborative regulation is key for this evolution. This is why we actively collaborate with stakeholders in various sectors to drive cross-sectoral digital solutions that enhance service delivery and support new means for digital inclusion. A notable example in this partnership with the Ministry of Interior through the Civil Status Organization, where we are currently taking the final steps for launching a new eKYC application, an AI-powered tool that will enable individuals across Egypt to securely and remotely verify their identity, unrestricted by the traditional means of in-person identity verification. This new tool will open new doors to digital inclusion, online services, and e-commerce. Also, on the usability side, services such as Wi-Fi calling and eSIM technology have been introduced to the Egyptian market in recent years. This is to enhance user experience, ensure resilience in the market, and open new avenues for digital public services. A new strategy for IPv6 was also launched, ensuring that our networks continue to evolve and are ready for the future of connectivity. Colleagues, if infrastructure and digital services are the backbone of development, skilled human capital remains its engine. In today's world, the innovation ecosystem cannot just emerge on their own. They require regulatory clarity, regulatory adaptability, institutional support, and collaboration between academia, industry, and government to meet the local necessities. At NTRE, we believe that human capital is the greatest asset in our Egyptian market. Over nearly 2 decades until this very day, NTRE continues to collaborate with various universities across Egypt through our research and development arm to build new partnerships, support research and development in the field of emerging technologies in a way that develops further synergies between government, business, and academia. And we are not stopping at that. We are doubling down on this effort. Late last year, we also established NTRE Technology Excellence Center, NTEC. NTEC is dedicated to accelerating the adoption of emerging technologies, developing POCs, and fostering partnerships in policy, experimentation, and sandboxing, with projects spanning fields like AI, IoT, OpenAI, and others. In the same vein, we also believe in the importance of knowledge sharing in our region. In 2021, we established the Egyptian African Telecom Regulatory Training Center, EGATEC, with the purpose of providing capacity development programs in the field of ICT regulation for the African and other countries. Its curriculum includes programs in spectrum management, smart cities, licensing, cybersecurity, among other important topics. Our strong cooperation with the UN's International Telecommunication Union is also evident in the selection of NTRE as one of ITU's vision. Through this role, NTRE contributes to building capacity and supporting the implementation of global initiatives in areas such as connectivity, digital inclusion, and emerging technologies. Colleagues, today we are at a new juncture. We are transitioning from digital economies to intelligent societies. Artificial intelligence about itself. This raises new overarching for society. We all, regulators, academia, innovators, and industry leaders, cannot afford the risk of working in isolation. As we gather here at IAMOT 2026, at the intersection of technology and humanity, and on the Responsible Innovation Day of our program, let us all renew our commitment that our efforts collaborate to inform and shape today's responsible innovation and tomorrow's regulation. Regulation that continues to serve as a bridge between innovation and inclusion, between technology and society, and between today's challenges and tomorrow's opportunities. Thank you very much, and I wish you continuous success.
Thank you so much, Engineer Hisham. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Tariq Khalil and Dr. Tariq Sadani to honor them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a panel I know many of you have been waiting for. Entrepreneurship, the road to billions. Please welcome Mr. Muhammad Nagati, Mr. Salah Diab, Mr. Ibrahim Kamil, Mr. Omar Damati, and Mr. Amr Badruddin.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm very happy to be here in Nile University. I'm doing a very hard task today. I grew up seeing those names as legends and being on the same stage with them today is a great honor. So thank you, Nile University, for having me. And last time I was here, I was speaking at the graduation, and it was an honor. So I hope you enjoy the panel, and I'll try to be as quick and smooth as I can, because the time of the people sharing the stage with me is much more important than that. So the topic is the road to billions, and it's a bit a generic topic, but I'll try to be as precise as I can. So I'd like to start with Salah Diab, and I have to be honest. I watched an interview for Salah and he was speaking about taking care of things that belong to God, the creator of the universe, and I was touched by it. So I'll start by a small question, if you may allow me. You've successfully steered the Pico group through decades of transitions. What is the one core principle that allowed you to be able to pass through this and be resilient with all the turbulences throughout the years? So Salah can I'll repeat my question.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. And I hope I'll be short and concise as possible. I'm supposed to be, or I'm considered one of the entrepreneurs. I don't know why. I don't know why. But let me say that we are speaking about AI. I had a lecture about AI and all that. I think the most important asset for progress is not only knowledge, not only science. The most important asset imagination. And without imagination, I wouldn't have entered to all those diverse aspects of my venture. Ventures are diversified. And I state them one after the other, as far as I remember, not with descending importance. I have great business in agriculture. But everybody is in agriculture in Egypt, yeah, of course. But when I get into agriculture, I don't export or we don't export from what we produce. But what we do not produce except what could be exported. This is a very slight difference. Didn't start by me. That started by the late Camille. And what makes me very proud about our agriculture venture is that once he went all over the world to get the grapes seedless, to get the strawberry you are seeing today, to get the avocado, to get lychee, all kinds of things. He did not monopolize what he got from all over the world. He made a tissue culture laboratory, and he made all his developed products available to all Egypt. This was imagination. The result is that Egypt exported this year agricultural exports for $11.6 billion. $11.6 billion. And that's beyond the income of the Suez Canal. One man did with imagination, good faith, and he did not give up to selfishness, saying these are my products, I'll keep them for me. No, he made it available for all. This is one. What's my connection with agriculture? I don't know even the seasons of anything. Not my job, it's not my business. I have people doing the job. Okay. And then I'm a mechanical engineer. I was the first Egyptian to get into petroleum service. First. The maximum was providing roughnecks to the businesses or providing catering, food, cooking for the staff. And when I did that, I didn't have the money, and I didn't have the know-how. I simply bought it and an opportunity. They were getting drilling jars, and the drilling jar is put in the line of drilling, in the line of drilling, with the drilling machine, with a drilling rig, and when there is a stuck, this jar releases the stuck. The jars were coming from Scotland, and once they are used, they have to be redressed, so they send it back to Scotland while paying the rent. 1.5 months going, 1.5 months coming, rent is paid. I knew nothing about jars, but just I got so I made a row in Gapco. This was the first company I approached that was working with IAMOT. IAMOT was an American company, and I told them, make a tender. We want to make the redressing here in Egypt on site. Why this journey? While you are paying rent during the journey time. And they agreed. I got the job. They made a tender, and I got the tender. I acquired it. And I went to all the banks in Egypt trying to get some finance to finalize this project. It was $1 million. I required $1 million. And all the Egyptian banks refused to let me anything. They told me we work in things that we know. What's this thing about oil service things? So I was visiting my mother in Garden City in her apartment. And then I came to know that in the same building, the Barclays Bank has an office there. So I went to the bank manager, Kevin Green. Kevin Green. And he looked at the contract I have with Gapco. He said, that's very good. I'll give you 50% of what you need. You have to pay 50%. I don't have it. And then he looked again. He said, all right, I'll give you 75. Mr. Green, I don't have 70, I don't have 25. And then he finally said, you know, I'll give you 90%. You pay 10%. I told him, unfortunately, Mr. Green, I don't have 10%. And he finally told, all right, you promise to pay once you get revenues from Gapco. This is my promise. This is equivalent to something where they said, قالوا الحرامي احلف قال جالك الفرج. But 14 months later, I paid all the $1 million. This is something. For me, I didn't know anything of it, but I went to the GovCo people, and I managed to get I hired 2 Americans that I hired to work with me, because to be accepted in this society where Americans are all over. Then, Laquar, I don't know how to make an omelet myself. But I went to the guys of Le Notre in Paris, and I got them home. And they started helping. And then, lately, 8 months ago, I thought that I was the king of pastry. And I wanted to expand in Riyadh and Saudi Arabia. I came to know a one of the very big millionaires of Saudi, and he decided to come and see my business so that he can join me in Saudi. And we prepared the golf cart for him. We took him all over our factory. And then we took him to On the Run, Minos, Laquar Cafe. The idea was that we wanted to impress him tremendously. And at the end of his tour, he told us, okay, but where is your automation? Everything is handmade. And how much is your delivery percentage? We have a delivery of 9%. He came back and he said, in our business, we started this Maestro Pizza and we finished Pizza Hut, and we finished with Domino's and all that, because we became #1 all over Saudi. And our delivery is 94%. So I felt dwarfed. And now we are working on automation, following the remarks of the Saudi guy. And we are working on making a setup for delivery that should exceed 9%. I'm dreaming of 30. And then I worked in oil production. I was not the first Egyptian to work in oil production. I was the first Arab to work in oil production. I was making a good job. And you wouldn't believe if I'm the third, I'm not the first, not the second, I'm not the 10th. I'm the third producer of oil. And to get into the oil business and produce 130,000 barrels a day, you need a hell of a lot of money. Because you have to have 12 rigs in operation. Each rig costs $50,000 per day. So this is $600,000 a day to spend. and I did not inherit anything. But this is something that got me into the club of billionaires in Egypt. I mean, I'm one of the club. With a slight difference. The billionaires of Egypt have their money in banks all over the world, and they might have their fortune in gold or something. My $1 billion is dead. I joined them with the title billion, but I'm indebted to foreign banks with $1 billion to make this happen. I'm not Shell, I'm not BP. I don't have shareholders, and I don't have deep pockets. But for this, I'm very straight with the banks now. I pay on time things. But okay, I got people from Texas to work as CEOs and things and so because I know that I don't know technically. I'm technically ignorant, and this is not a shame. But I was a dreamer, imagination. And then I started real estate story in
رجالة
somewhere here.
الكاميرا واخدة برويز فصوتنا كلنا طالع.
New Giza. I know nothing about real estate development in New Giza. But I called Mahmoud al-Gamal. I put him in charge as the CEO. And I think New Giza is known to most of you as a good name.
You live in New Giza already. عايش هناك. I live there.
You live there?
Yes.
Okay, anyway, but New Giza, when I leave this world, I will leave behind me some footprints. I will leave behind me the University of New Giza. I will leave behind me Hospital of New Giza. Leave behind me the 5 schools of New Giza and the club of New Giza. I'll disappear, yes, but I'm going to leave footprint. This is so important. I'm going to leave a footprint there. I'm going to leave a footprint in whatever I started to continue. And I became a little bit late, not late, let's say 10 years ago. I became attached to I've become a little bit religious. Not religious. I was always religious. But I started looking into things the other way. For example, in Lapore, I have 4,200 employees. Really looking after them. In a different way. I take from each of them 5% of his salary. And